Welcome back. Who can forget that just 3 weeks ago, Charlie Kirk, the conservative commentator in America, friend of Donald Trump, friend of J.D. Vance, was assassinated, shot to death for his political opinions. Many people feel that the reason for that shocking assassination was the dialing up of political rhetoric, the political discourse getting bitterer and more extreme, more incendiary by the day. Well, it seems to be going on here now, and you know, you've heard the Labourites, you know, Starmer and his gang, talking about the reform being racist, immoral, snake oil salesman, don't like, but, you know, dialing up this attacking the man, vicious, low down, gutter trawling tactics. That's what they're doing. So a lot of people feel that if we're not careful, we'll get a Charlie Kirk situation ourselves. And the man in the frame, let's face it, since he's the target of all these Labour lies, he's a racist. He's not a racist at all. Doesn't like Britain. Of course he does. The target is Nigel Farage. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll introduce a guest and we'll play a few clips and we'll discuss them. So Charlie Kirk ran an organisation called Turning Point. They have an American, that's the American branch. We have a British branch over here called Turning Point UK. And from Turning Point UK, welcome to the show to John Yates. Hello, John.
Hello, good evening, Kevin. So it's Kevin. You're really, really nice to be with you this evening.
Okay, mate. Now listen, we're going to play a few clips and then you can tell us what you think. First of all, Nigel Farage yesterday sort of delivered a rebuttal address after Keir Starmer spent an hour, in fact the entire conference, calling him a racist, reform supporters are racists, immoral, you know, hate Britain, all that sort of stuff. Gutter trawling stuff. So this is what Nigel Farage said yesterday about the dangers of dialing up political rhetoric like this insofar as it can lead to violence and could lead to violence, did in the case of Charlie Kirk and could again, not necessarily on that side of the Atlantic. It could happen here. Here's Nigel Farage yesterday.
Labour says these policies are racist and immoral. And by implication, reform supporters, reform voters, reform sympathisers are racist too. Yes, if you think we should control our borders, you are, by the definition of the Prime Minister and his cabinet, all racists. Now, I don't normally worry about abuse being thrown at me. I've got kind of used to it over the course of the last few years. But to accuse countless millions of being racist is a very, very low blow. Why? Well, this language will incite and encourage the radical left. I'm thinking of Antifa and other organisations like that. It directly threatens the safety of our elected officials and our campaigners. And frankly, in the wake of the Charlie Kirk murder, I think this is an absolute disgrace.
Bear with us, John. I'm going to play a couple more clips as well. This was the rhetoric at the Labour conference being dialed up to an absurd, dangerous extent, I would suggest. This is the oafish Justice Secretary, David Lammy. Listen to this.
I will leave it for the public to come to their own judgments about someone who once flirted with Hitler Youth when he was younger. That is for the public.
Here's the former Labour Shadow Home Secretary, Diane Abbott, wishing that Nigel Farage gets a kicking.
He's only got 5 MPs, and the danger is, I'm all for people giving him a good kicking. West Streeting did that this morning.
That's nice, isn't it? And finally, John, a lot of clips for us to digest here, but this is Reform UK's Zia Yousaf revealing that Nigel Farage has to have security everywhere he goes. The government pays for that because he's a party leader. It's been reduced incredibly by 75%. Have a look at this.
About it, but I think it is in the public interest that they know that just about 2 weeks ago, the authorities slashed the size of Nigel's security detail by 75%. The authorities cut Nigel's security detail by 75% 2 weeks ago. That's why so many of us around Nigel are so worried. Now, I want to be clear and reassure people who A, support Nigel, but B, all right-thinking people in this country who believe in sensible democratic politics in this country, that thankfully donors stepped in and have shored up that security, so Nigel is well protected. But the Prime Minister knows exactly what he's doing. This is a Prime Minister who's circling the drain, who, according to a poll this week, is the most unpopular Prime Minister on record. According to a poll this week, the majority of Labour members want to be replaced, and he's lashing out against the man that he knows. Starmer knows he cannot beat Nigel at the ballot box, so he's embarked on the most, I want to say it again, extraordinary, coordinated attacks to incite violence against the man who is the bookmaker's favourite to replace him at number 10 Downing Street. It's disgusting, and he should apologise.
Well, there you have it, John. Nigel Farage citing Charlie Kirk, David Lammy lying, saying that Nigel Farage flirted with the Hitler Youth, a ridiculous thing to say. Nigel Farage was born in 1964. The Hitler Youth, not surprisingly, ceased to exist at the end of the war when Hitler died in 1945. Diane Abbott wishing that Nigel Farage gets a kicking, and Zia Youssef talking about this dialing up of this rhetoric, the danger of it, and the fact Nigel Farage's security has been seriously reduced by the Home Office. But the main charge here is that if you dial up the rhetoric, as Labour are at the moment, against anyone, but particularly Nigel Farage, you could easily end up with a Charlie Kirk situation, right?
Yeah, very much so. I come from Northern Ireland, and everybody understands what has happened in Northern Ireland in the past. And for many, many years, I'm now 56 years of age, and for many years in Northern Ireland, we did see respective politicians radicalising their respective followers against each other. And really what it resulted in here in Northern Ireland is people losing their lives. Now, when we go across the pond into America, and we all seen what happened to Charlie Kirk just a few weeks ago, I'm really going to talk about certain news channels, whether that be in America, whether that be here in the United Kingdom, in Northern Ireland. And, you get these people, what I would call activists in the media, who would use all manner of untruth whenever that they talk about ordinary individuals with ordinary, genuine concerns. And what we've taken to doing ourselves would be to go out onto the street with a microphone to seek really what those concerns are all about. And we don't only stop, I'm a conservative, but we don't stop with talking to conservative people. What we try to do is that we try to go into, people that would traditionally follow Labour or be known as, left wing. And one of the interesting things that I find that whilst that there are the so-called radical left, a lot of the people that are following these type of ideologies, whenever that you do get to talk to them, whenever you're not stopped from talking to them by the stewards at certain events, well, when you talk to them, you get to understand that they have the same sort of concerns with reference what's happening in our country as we do. But there are those, probably small in number and maybe increasing in number because of the type of rhetoric that politicians are, spewing out. But there are those that we've seen it in the past. They take it upon themselves to really make it a vendetta against those that they're being radicalised against. And it's not all the time, Kevin, that what politicians are saying, what the activists and the certain mainstream media channels are actually trying to persuade people of.
Well, what I think you're saying there, John, is, and I would agree, is that if politicians start indulging in that rhetoric, this kind of incendiary rhetoric, it of course spreads to the people. In fact, that's what Keir Starmer wants to happen. You know, he wants to say, you know, put Farage in the same sentence as Adolf Hitler, racist, immoral, snake oil salesman, all of that. He wants that rhetoric to spread to the people, so the people start linking Nigel Farage with extreme Nazism, etc., etc. That's what he wants. Now, as we find out with Charlie Kirk, there can be serious dangers in that. Now, of course, you know, I happen to know that although the government has cut back on Nigel Farage's security, he is still well protected. They've found the money to fund his security themselves in Reform UK, and that's a good thing. But you know, heaven forbid, but just suppose something bad happened to poor Mr. Farage. I mean, that would be down to Starmer and Labour and the kind of narrative that they've created in the past couple of weeks, particularly during the 4 days or so of the conference, where they really dialed it up. Shabana Mahmood, you know, Nigel Farage is worse than racist. Lammy, we're looking at there. He flirted with the Hitler Youth and so on and so forth. And, you know, this technique, it's an old political technique. It's gutter trolling, but this is what they do. What Lammy did was the old 1-2. Oh, he flirted with the Hitler Youth. Everybody say he was flirted with the Hitler Youth. That's extraordinary. Massive denial, of course, from Nigel. You know, less than an hour later, Lammy retracts it. Oh, well, he's denied it. I have to accept that. Should have apologised, but he didn't. But he retracted it. But by then, the plan has worked. As far as they're concerned, the mud has stuck. Well, you know, that's not, well, it's not fair enough, but okay, that happens. But if you're going to indulge in those tactics, we know what can happen. The people pick up on it. They start saying, I'm going to do something about this Nazi Nigel Farage, just as they did with Charlie Kirk. I'm going to do something about this fascist, this Nazi. I'm going to do something, it's racist. And it leads to violence. Labour are indulging in a very dangerous game here, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, it's not really just concerning I mean, what it is that people are being labelled with and what people are being called. But we've got to look at it right across the board. And, you know, and I did notice there just before that I come on, you had someone on there talking about being, you know, someone was arrested for mean tweets.
Tweets, yeah.
Yeah, and then when it gets
tweet
to...
police, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then when it gets to, and I'm going to use the name of the BBC, say, for example, and you know, I'm going to specifically say here in Northern Ireland, whenever it comes to, you know, people with genuine concerns, let's say, for example, with reference to what I call the uncontrolled, uncontrollable, unquantifiable, and most importantly, the unidentifiable type of immigration that is coming into your country. And, you know, and there has been things happened here in Northern Ireland where people have been arrested for, in where that, you know, certain people, young ladies specifically in Ballymena, where they were, you know, sexually assaulted by people. And then when people go out to, you know, protest against them, then they're being labelled by, again, I'm going to say this term, activists in the media, who have an alignment, I would say, with the likes of the Labour Party. Here in Northern Ireland, with parties just like the Labour Party, for example, the Alliance Party of Northern Ireland, you know, Sinn Féin, you know, and even one of our own so-called unionist parties who would be, you know, would be accepting of a lot of these things that they're saying, which isn't really reality whenever that you look at them. And you know, and it's really unfair because people have been attacked here in Northern Ireland for what it is that they're being labelled. Now, I'm going to say it's particularly unacceptable whenever that we have a prime minister, you know, the so-called leader of a country who is meant to be there to serve and to protect the entire population of the United Kingdom. And yet, whenever you get that type of rhetoric from that man's mouth, Well, I mean, is he a leader? Is he a prime minister? Is he serving and protecting the people the way that he's actually put in place to do?
Yeah. And in Ballymena, were there those riots because a couple of young Romanian migrants, I think they were accused of a sex crime. The rape of a young local girl. It was the leader of Sinn Féin, and the police described the rioters as racists, racist thugs. Well, I would suggest that's not true. They were reacting to the sexual assault of a local girl. To call them racist thugs, again, incendiary and inaccurate. So we've got a problem here. I'll tell you what, John, explain to me what Turning Point UK stand for.
Right. Well, Turning Point is a conservative movement, largely Christian in their beliefs. They believe in the Judeo-Christian values that the West was built upon. One of the cornerstone, or the cornerstone of what Christianity really is free will, Kevin. And free will, as opposed to what it is that we seem to be getting now from some Western world governments. And Keir Starmer and his government seems to have adopted like a totalitarian style approach to everything. There's no really talking to people. It's just really dictating what it is that people should have. And, it's kind of on a put up or a put up or shut up sort of approach that they're trying to force things into place. I mean, one example would be what has happened in the past few days with this introduction of digital ID. Yeah. And, if you've been monitoring things, well, you'll see what the natural progression of this digital ID would be. Digital ID, CBDC, central bank digital currency, the cashless society, the digital payments for everything, the monitoring of absolutely everything. And then if we look at, for example, what has happened in China with the social credit system, and that is the natural progression of this type of thing, well, it only leads to complete control of every single aspect of every single person's life. And, I would choose, and this is me getting back to what it is that Turning Point UK espouses, is the cornerstone of the Judeo-Christian values, which is free will. In the Bible, it talks about choose you this day whom you will serve. It doesn't say that you have to serve God. It's giving you the choice to do so. And I know that I would choose that every day of the week. And as they say in Northern Ireland, twice on a Sunday.
Listen, John, good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Come on again soon. That's John Yates from Turning Point UK.